folks. Just so you know, this is my third attempt at this post. I feel like I picked quite a time to decide that I was going to post a video every day. But I've had a couple of trains of experiences in the last couple of days that have been really interesting and really enlightening in some ways, I think. So the kind of crux of where my mind is at this time, and perceiving the events of the last couple of days, and both in the country, in the world, and also just in my own life, the people I've been around, the conversations I've had. What I've come to is, and this is coming out of my meditative practice, which I've been just much more regular about recently. And what I've discovered, or what I'm trying to articulate and have begun to articulate in myself, is that by being truly in connection with the source of my own being, which is where we go in meditation. In meditation, you connect with the infinite space, the witnessing consciousness that is completely free of characteristics. It has no features, it has no dimensions, it has no contours. It is just the presence that perceives everything. And everything in the manifest world includes my own thoughts, it includes emotions, it includes physical things like this table that the camera is sitting on. Everything is being witnessed by this space, but the space itself contains nothing. It simply is the light of being. When we connect with that, we recognize it seems to be a natural outgrowth of being in that space, that we recognize everything, every single moment of our existence is operating on our behalf. It's helping us. It's a wind in our sails. It's helping us to evolve. Now, that does not mean the experiences are pleasant. It does not mean that we're being evolved in the way that our ego thinks we want to be evolved or need to be evolved. But it does mean, when we're in connection with that space, that's almost the only way we can see it. When you're not in connection with that space, then the ego is deciding what it wants and what it thinks and how and why everything that's happening is wrong, because that's what the mind does. The mind is a problem-solving instrument. So the mind loves nothing more than to label things as problems, because that validates its existence. But the space of being simply perceives that every moment is a moment of inspiration, a moment of change, a moment of evolution. And that can get that holding on to that can get hard when events get really crazy, when we go into really kind of cataclysmic moments in our life, whether these are personal moments or national moments or global moments. It can become very hard to hold on to that space. But where I've been residing recently is in the place of sitting in recognition of that, and continually doing my best to reconnect to that space and really be there and come from there, in my own life, in my own work, in everything, in my own relationships, all of the ways in which I am in the world, coming from that place. I had a piano lesson with a student yesterday, and she said the most amazing thing. She's a very talented student, but tends to play too fast and tends to kind of be one step ahead of herself in where she wishes she was. So she's, I'm always trying to say, okay, slow down, just let your hands discover this piece. And she was playing a passage, had a bunch of 16th notes in it. I had her slow way down, and she's playing it really slowly. To her credit, she was kind of taking her time going through it, making a different mistake each time, and she played it 3, 4, 5 times, and she at some point got frustrated, and she's like, I literally play a different note wrong each time. And it hit me, and I was like, that's because your infinite wisdom, your infinite consciousness is literally teaching you each step of the way what the right note is. You're not making mistakes over and over in a different way. I mean, you are, and you can see it that way, but from another level, you're literally discovering all the territory around the written piece, the piece that we're ostensibly learning. And it just kind of, so like the concept that I was talking about before just kind of clicked into place for me in a really practical way. That's like, oh, she's not, obviously it's not happening consciously. She's not consciously making these mistakes, but her psyche is doing the exploring of the territory so that it can know clearly the right notes. And so I've been playing with this idea of, like, 99% of our practice time at the piano should be in that place of playing in what I'm calling discovery mode, right? So we're not playing to perform, we're not playing to get it right, we're not playing because we know it and we're now demonstrating that we know it. We're playing to discover what it is. And when we make mistakes, we're discovering what those were, and then why. What did we do? Well, was it a fingering thing? Is it because my focus shifted to my left hand and I missed something in the right hand? What literally, how fine point can I diagnose the issue? But it really drove home for me this concept. Every moment of life, every moment in the universe is from the point of view of the microcosm, the individual infinite being. Every moment is a moment of evolution. Every moment is a moment of informing us and it's for our benefit. It's for our benefit. It can be very hard to see and very hard to hold on to in some circumstances, but I truly believe that that's the case. And I think, from that place, it doesn't mean that we don't fight. It doesn't mean we don't fight for justice in the world. It doesn't mean that we don't need to overturn corrupt systems or ineffective systems. It doesn't mean sometimes that we might even not need to go into battle to defend what's right. But it does mean that we know in every moment that we are being aided, that whatever's happening is for our benefit. Whatever's happening is helping us, and from that place we can engage from an informed place. The space, the infinite, always engages from a place of truth. It's a truth, and the next revelation is always arising in that space. The ego doesn't have that. The ego does not operate that way. The ego wants what it wants, and if it doesn't get what it wants, then it's a failure and it's a problem and it's wrong. And until it fixes that problem, it can't handle it. It's gonna struggle, and it's gonna fight, and it's gonna try and wiggle its way out of it or dominate the other side. But from this other space, none of that is necessary. From this other space, it's only ever searching for the truth as action is taken, and available for the truth as action is being taken. And so that's kind of where my head is in this time. And I certainly have a lot of appreciation for where we're at and for the difficulties that we're facing. But I also truly believe that coming from a liberated place in ourselves and just cultivating experiences that remind us of the truth of ourselves is the only way. It's the way that we're gonna make the most progress, and it's the way that we're gonna that the way in which we make progress and the result we achieve is gonna reflect maximum truth, maximum evolution, maximum empathy and love and honesty, and genuine change, the kind of change we really want to see. So that's where I'm at today, folks. Love you all. Thanks so much for listening. See you soon.